Let's continue on this one, guys. So we're just going to hop right into this. So I'm going to show some facts, some information on what happened here. Probably give the best take you're going to get on any platform, really, like period, of this particular incident. So I'm going to start with stuff that is very non-graphic, non-sensitive, in case any of you want to check out, in case it's too much or whatever. And I'll warn you before I get into stuff that is more intense. So let's just start out with some basic facts about what went down, including where it is, just generally. So I've got that pulled up here. Let me tab over here. Let's see. Yes, so here we go. So we've got a lot of good articles on it, but this is probably the best map that I've seen of the internet. So you've got Itaewon here. Now, Itaewon is a foreigner district. And this is Itaewon subway station, right? Subway station is right there. And these are the exits, exit 1, 2, 3, and 4, right over here. And I'm going to show you videos so you'll kind of understand where these things are, like as we go, and you'll see how this went down. So what happened was these streets were completely packed. I mean, like fully packed that night. And here's the level at which they were packed. They were this packed. So this is the level. This is the number of people that were out that night in Itaewon, completely full, like completely full here. You also see, oh, that's the morning sign, but you see how full it is. So these streets were absolutely full. Here you go. Absolutely full. And this is the alley leading down into the alley where the incident happened. So this building, you can see this brick here. This is the side of the Hamilton Hotel and Shopping Center. It's a very famous landmark in Itaewon. You can kind of see it from miles away if you're looking, if you're looking at it. So that is one of the main landmarks there. So here you see this. Here's the Hamilton Hotel. I actually, right before this, when I was going to Tokyo, I actually went in there to buy a sweater, which is hilarious. I went in there to buy a sweater because it was like the best price, and I just happened to be in the area. So it's a very popular place. People know where it is. And what happened was there was a crowd going up and a crowd going down, and they created a choke point right here in this alley. And when they created that choke point and there was a maximum density of people, there was like a critical mass of people there. That's when people started getting tangled, people fell and got knocked over. So that's the general summary of the incident. So let me get you guys, before we go on to some different angles here to show you, let me show you guys exactly where this is in terms of like Google Maps, because I think that will actually really help you guys understand this one. So here we go. So here is the Google Maps view. So this is the alley right here. This is the alley right here. Here's the Hamilton Shopping Center. Now, this is clearly not today. This is an old archive photo, but this is the alley. And honestly, I've been down this alley like maybe once or twice, but generally I don't go down it because it's kind of sketchy. It's always kind of sketchy, and it's extremely tight. I mean, you can see there's two people here and they're almost the width of the alleyway. And this is Itaewon generally, for those who don't know. This is like one of the foreigner party districts, right? You can see the massage place over there. You got pubs over here. You got a barbecue place over here. You got another bar up there. And all the bars are generally on this back street here. So this is what happened. People started coming up on this right-hand side here while people were trying to come down. And because it's so narrow, boom, there was a collision right there in the middle. Right there in the middle. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, everything is in English. Yeah, everything is in English. People noticing that everything is in English because it's a foreigner district. So this area was right near the Yongsan garrison, which is where there used to be a huge, massive U.S. military presence. They removed everybody from that garrison about 10 years ago, and they moved them all to Pyeongtaek, which is another city in South Korea. If you know Scott from Future Conflict, Scott is one of those that is in Pyeongtaek, or at least he was in Pyeongtaek. He just moved. But He's one of those guys that's in Pyeongtaek, but he used to be back in the day in Yongsan. So they moved everybody out of there, out of that garrison. And they're currently in the process of turning that property back over from the US military to Korea. But there's some issues about cleaning it up, yada, yada. But regardless, this area has remained both a foreigner district and a party district. So I have gone out in this area multiple times. Very, very, very familiar with this area. And because of that, I wanted to go out and actually take some photos, show you guys like what was going on here, and give you guys a little bit of background on this today. So I'm going to show you literally me earlier today taking a photo from my iPhone. It's not great, but just kind of showing you guys around some of the streets and showing you how narrow they are, as well as the elevation. Because when I talk about, when I'm putting things together, talking about the causes and stuff, the elevation was like a massive part of it. So let me show you here, me, and this is me today, just like a couple hours ago.
Hey guys, so I'm like on a back street in Itaewon.
Oh,
you can kind of see
the volume is low on this. Let's see.
Can I get the volume up? Of a lot of the alleys around here. You can see kind of the narrowness, and if you look back here, they're not that wide, and frankly, they're kind of rough all around, really in the neighborhood.
So you can see what I want to show you real quick, and this is what I was trying to show you. Let's see, where did I bend this around? Okay, here you go. You can see there's elevation here, and you can also see that the roads are kind of rough. And that's one thing about Korea that maybe most people don't know. It's like, yes, Japan is well, a lot of countries like have different road qualities, right? So Korea has like a road quality that can kind of be rough sometimes. So and I was just, coming back from Japan. That road quality is different. US road quality is different. Like every country has different road quality. Even your city might have a different road quality. But the quality in Itaewon is pretty rough. Not gonna lie, it's pretty rough. So yeah, I went there live from the scene and walked around. People asking, do I speak Korean or can you get by just in English? I know a little bit of Korean. I'm actually learning right now. But I get by with pretty minimal Korean. But if please, thank you in any language, and give me this, it does quite well. It does quite well. It does a lot well. And by the way, this is not a particular issue to Korea. I'm going to get into it, but there's a giant crowd crush incident that happened in the Hajj in Mecca. There's been ones in different cities all over the world. It happens when there's a high density. So anytime there's a high density of people, it doesn't matter where it is, you're going to get potential for crowd crush scenarios. So people come together and literally crushing each other. It's quite bad. So let me show you some more of the pictures and movies I took today. This one, I'm going to turn the volume off and just kind of narrate it for you. But this is a place that me and Vices may be able to check in a little bit later. This is what a area called Hooker Hill, and this is not where it happened. This is not where the incident happened. It's nearby, but I just want to show you guys the elevation, because the elevation in Itaewon is very, very significant. You can see here as we're going down, this is pretty steep. So if you imagine this alleyway also had a downward decline very similar to this. So if you imagine an alley that's half of this width with people pushing downwards, you can kind of get what we're talking about here. So that's some of the kind of the downward slope that you see a lot of the places in Itaewon. And now let me get you a couple other of the photos here. These are some still photos. So here is the entrance to Itaewon right there. That's where you go right into the community. And right over here on the left was where there is a memorial. So there was a memorial posted up over there. Then there was also a ton of police. And one of the reasons why I couldn't get much closer to the incident, or as close, is because the police presence was absolutely insane. So as you can see here, police stacked up all the way up and down the street, like just buses and buses and buses of police. This is an entire street's worth of police here. Really, really crazy. Of all the time I've been in Korea, I'd never seen anything like that. Even when I've seen protests, I've seen other areas where there haven't been that many police cars. So here's the area of the incident. And I'm going to show you an area walking by it, but I could not get a clear shot of the alley itself, the one that I'm showing you on Google Maps, because the police were on both sides of the road. They were covering the other side of the road. So you couldn't really shoot from the other side. I could only shoot kind of diagonally from it as I was crossing the street. But you can see the Hamilton Hotel. This is the Hamilton Hotel, the brown brick building right here, where the incident happened, right down there. So that's generally the area. And then this is the best footage that I got. It's right here, and this will help you kind of give some background here. So right here, I'm at exit 3. This is exit 3 of the subway station. This is actually the store where I went shopping for my sweater. So you see, as I'm crossing this street, and I'm just going to go slowly, you see this crowd of people here. These are all family members. These are all members of the press, other folks that were over there to mourn. There were some people who had set up some flowers over there as well. A lot of members of the press, tons of police, but there was no way to get right here to this other side. This is where the alley is, which is roped off, blocked off, and you can see the police have squared this off, and no one can come in this area. This is where, frankly, a lot of the bodies were lined up on the floor or on the sidewalk and in the street. They were all lined up in there. And you can see they're keeping everybody out of this area. So even though I was just crossing over from one side to the other side, and I got the subway station over on that side, you can see that's exactly where it is. See the police presence, see all the folks out there. So that's why I couldn't get much closer than that. And honestly, guys, for me, frankly, as a person who has been to Itaewon a lot, has gone a ton, it was kind of a little bit disturbing because for me, having been someone who's there, who goes there a lot, who's been there probably like fucking 15, at least 15, 20 times, at least, probably more, honestly, because it's a place you go for a date. It's a place you go for a drink. It's a place you go for a meal. Actually, frankly, thinking about it, I've probably been to Itaewon at least 40, 50 times for various reasons. In fact, one of the doctors that I use there is right there in Itaewon. So it's really crazy to think. And frankly, just for me, when I think this could be a person I know, this could be a guy I know, a girl I know. When you look at those folks, you really don't know. And fortunately, I'm very fortunate that nobody I know, nobody that I care about is there that I know of. I haven't seen any names that I know of, any people that I know of. So luckily, it seems like that was nobody I know of. But I could imagine myself there because I've been there and I've been drunk, but I have never been out on Halloween. Now, we'll mention something. Last Halloween, there were warnings. Do not go to Itaewon, right? But those warnings were from COVID. And there were police in Itaewon spreading people out, but they were spreading people out for COVID purposes, because it was mandated that people keep a distance, social distancing. So they were actually there last year for COVID. So this year, because COVID restrictions are gone, because they've been lifted, the police didn't need or didn't feel required to split people up for COVID anymore. They thought, okay, that reason is gone. We're just going to let it go. But in addition, this year, there was much more of a crowd because people were celebrating. No masks, no rules, able to fully go out and party again. Things have been back to normal here in Korea. So this is like the first full strength Halloween. Over 100,000 people were there, which, if you saw the crowd photo, is pretty fucking insane. Even over here by my place in the neighborhood where I'm at, which is closer to Gangnam, across the river, it was packed going out. Seoul was packed. And Seoul is one of the most dense cities in the world, far more dense than New York even, in terms of the urban areas. So the density, you really feel it. And if you've ever been to Asia, if you've been to Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, anywhere else, you know that there's those alleys and those places that get really tight. You've seen those tight alleys that you really don't see as much in the United States. You really don't see in other parts of the world, but over here. But yeah. Orion has said, yeah, I lived in Beijing, China for 7 years, barely spoke Chinese, but got along by with English, lots of English menus, went to Korea like 4 times, it was similar. Yeah, you can get along with English. You can get along, but it helps to know a little Korean, and it goes a long way. And just learning stuff like numbers and, basics like your phone number and your address and how to say that in Korean, that really, really helps. I was very proud of myself. I said I told my taxi driver the address on the way home. The problem was he was kind of dumb. The taxi driver was kind of dumb, but I was very proud of myself for being able to say that. I'm very proud of myself for being able to say that. All right. So now I'm going to shift a little bit to showing some more of the graphic videos. So if anybody is like kind of squeamish, I'm sorry, like I'm going in on it. So if you want to tune out now, if you might probably going to be disturbed by some of the stuff you're seeing, some of the videos I'm going to show. Nothing where there's actual corpses, but definitely incident video and different views of the incident. So we're going to go back to this one. This was this article here, which had the map kind of showing where things are going. It also had an explanation. So this YouTuber who was there said this perfect explanation. He was actually on the scenes. So he said, behind me, people were shouting things like, push, we're stronger, we can win this, and began pushing. Some of us were trying to get the crowd to follow the right-hand traffic again, but it was of no use. I was honestly being pushed and shoved around against my will. Then all of a sudden, chaos ensued, and everyone started pushing back and forth aggressively like a tug of war. It didn't take too long before I started feeling the sheer force of people pushing. My vision started fading. My friend who was there with me is stronger than I am, so they held on to me and helped me withstand the force. Had I not been with my friend, I would have absolutely fallen. So this guy got pretty much saved by his friend who was stronger than him. So here's the incident, and now there's some GIFs of it, but I'm just going to play the whole thing. This is one of the videos that really captures it. It's shot in the vertical, but you can kind of see it, and I'll narrate it for you a little bit here. So you see, here's the alley, and I'm going to pause it here. So people are going up on this side, down on this side. Generally in Korea, you follow the right hand travel. So you walk up on the right hand, you walk up and down on the right hand side, right? So people are going down, you stick to the right. People are going, up, you stick to the right. It's different in different countries. For example, I was just in Japan. They walk up on the left-hand side, but in Korea, generally it's the right-hand side. So you generally follow the right-hand side, right up and down. Oh, and before I show this, I'm going to let on, I think I'm going to let on, if I see his camera, somebody who may be ready. There he is. I'll take this down for a second. My good friend, Legal Vices. Legal Vices.
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you, brother. I wish we could talk about more fun than this, but this is definitely something that I have you on because you've been in Korea longer than I have. So you have a lot of cultural things that I have less knowledge of.
Well, so sometimes you gotta talk about the bad stuff with the good and funny.
Yeah, and certainly you and I are the closest to this, and kind of understand this because you've been to Itaewon. I say I've been 50 times. You've probably been 1,000 times.
Thousands, yeah.
Yeah, so many times. I always would avoid Itaewon because of the crowds. But have you ever been there for a Halloween? Have you ever gone there for Halloween?
No.
Okay.
No interest at all. Crowds scare the fuck out of me for exactly this reason.
And I assume that it was just as crazy. Like for decades, it's been kind of crazy packed.
I don't think there was as much as there was this year because it was just 2 years, 3 years of pent up. Let's go have fun.
Right.
But yeah, it's always really packed there. And my fear of crowds, like the crowd crush crowds, came because every year in October they have the Busan fireworks on Gwanghwali Beach, the Gwanghwan Bridge fireworks festival, which is now canceled because of this and the week of mourning that's been instituted. But probably 18 years ago, I took my son there. And it started out, I mean, there was not that many people on the beach the first year, and then it got a little bit crowded. So I went to the mountain, up on top of the mountain, and that became a popular photo place. And then you find other locations that eventually fill up to where at one point there was, and you've seen how small Guanganli Beach is.
Mm-hmm.
1 million people.
Okay, no,
That is on that beach, going around both ends of the ocean, going up the back alleys. And I took my son there once because I thought we'll just get there early in the daytime, get a good, nice little spot on the beach, and just sit there all day and wait for the fireworks. Well, that happened. But again, more people keep coming and your space gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And they were doing the same thing. The 1 million people on the beach, they were funneling up those small little alleyways. And I was honestly terrified at that point. And I got my son in a headlock. I wrapped my hand through his shirt and then kind of put my arm around his neck and said, whatever happens, don't you fucking let go of me. And I'm not going to let go of you. And we struggled through it. And I said, I'm never, ever setting foot on that fucking beach again during the fireworks festival. Yep. Now I just watch it from the roof of my building. But
you've got a great view. You've got a fantastic view. I'm the same way. I think I told this story earlier today, but I remember a long time ago when I was at a Warped Tour in Florida, and I was at the front and I was just getting crushed. The sun was coming down on me. I was just being slammed up against a guardrail and I was about to pass out. Like I was just, from the heat, from the sun, from being pushed, being crushed. And luckily at the front, they had dudes to yank people out. So luckily I threw my hand out before I passed out. A guy yanked me out. Luckily, I was only $160 back then. I was still 6'6", but I was $160. So he pulled me out like a worm on a line, and kept me from fainting. But ever since that incident, I've tried to avoid it. I've tried to avoid being in the thick of it because that gets that crowd mentality, and at that point, you've got no control. Your individual control is completely gone. It is
what you said.
Will of
just
the crowd.
Before I came on. What you said just before I came on is the secret to it. Those kids knew it was a shit show. They knew it was dangerous, but it's fun. Oh, it's crowd waves. Oh, we're stronger. We can win. And you don't realize it's not fun until it's not fun, and then it's too fucking late.
And then
it's all fun and games. And Koreans have a different sense of space than we do. There's no way that like Americans would ever be in that tight packed of a situation unless it was something like the Astro World thing where you just get pushed up against the stage or whatnot. But this is outside in a street. We have a totally different sense of space. We don't have the subway pushers to pack you in like sardines in the subway. And so they put up with it and it's fun. Then it becomes we're salmon spawning uphill. We got to push harder than them. We'll win. And then somebody falls.
Right. And I think that you've probably seen it. I want to show it to you again, but obviously you've probably shown this on your stream. I didn't have a chance to catch yours, but this is the particular alley where the incident went down. It's very clear because of the color of the brick of the Hamilton Shopping Center. Very, very clear. I actually have rarely go down this one just because it's usually sketchy and small. And literally that's why I typically avoid that one generally.
That is a really old picture too.
It is an old picture. I was gonna say it's got the JR Southern Barbecue over here.
This place has been closed for 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. This is 2015. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You've got the Oriental Massage over here. That's gone.
That's an Olive Young now.
But
this front of the Hamilton's gone.
But the width of the alley is the same. This has not been expanded at all.
It's 13 feet. It's 4 meters, 13 feet wide.
Yeah, so that's not changed at all. So I was just going to click through a couple of these videos and watch them. The one that I was starting with was this one, which actually kind of shows the path of the direction and the people pushing from the top. So unfortunately, it's in vertical format. So I'll put us on the side. I think that'll be fine. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit on this, but you'll be able to see the people on this side going down, people going up, and then the push happening. And you see people climbing up and out. But see, there you go. People screaming the push coming from the back, people pointing. And you can hear the police whistle, but there's no police in the middle of this. There's no police in the alley. There's no police, like, there's no line. You can hear the people screaming at the bottom, but once again, you kind of get quickly crushed, you know, if you're on the bottom. So your ability to scream even is taken kind of away from you. So that was the first one that I had there. And then
one of the fascinating things is, since that experience I had with my son on the beach, I've sort of kind of become really fascinated with crowd dynamics.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
yes.
Actually,
I have something on that.
Those are individuals. Those are individual people. But when you reach a certain density of human beings,
here it is.
It's 6 people per square meter.
Yeah.
Then see there, it's right there. But what it becomes is you stop being individual people, and the laws of fluid dynamics take over.
Yes. So here it is. So once you get more than 5+, it triggers the laws of fluid dynamics, right? And then it becomes extraordinarily dangerous when you get to 8+ per meter, right? Because then you have risk of hitting a choke point, right? And risk of somebody falling over. And this was both. This was both a choke point and people falling over. So you had both, right? So you're coming down a hill. So you're talking about girls in heels on Halloween, right? They're going to fall especially when they're pushed. And by the way, a lot of those that were deceased were women. Frankly. And there's a risk of hitting a choke point, and that choke point is the up down with pretty much a wall on the other side. And you'll see some videos of people trying to climb up and over the wall, but that is literally the hard place. And you can't go out from there. There's no expanding from there.